doing the things to protect us. Please bless the men and women in the armed services that serve us, all our police and fire. Father, please help us that we might be able to make the decisions that will be of benefit to the people in the county. And we're grateful for the opportunity to serve, and grateful for the volunteers and the people in this community. And these favors and blessings we ask you for in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, approval of minutes from 7:10 of two. That's been that long since we've had a meeting. I'd entertain a motion since it was just me and you here.
I'd make a motion that we approve the minutes from our July 10th, 2018 meeting.
I'll second that motion. I've got a motion by Commissioner Scott and a second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You guys got anything going on?
I've just got a letter here. I'm on the CIP committee, and we're going to be sending out a letter of thanks to Ron Germer. He's been on the CIP since it began and has been very good in serving on that board and been very insightful. He's going to be stepping down due to health reasons, but we just wanted to recognize him and his service and appreciate all that he's done on the CIP, and we'll be getting a replacement probably for him next meeting.
Okay. You got anything, Jeffrey?
I don't.
I think we've got contract, right? Rodeo contract we need to sign that was approved by Steve for the Golden Spike Rodeo, and
Oh,
this
Triplicate.
triplicate. Wow. And while I'm signing these, it's fast and furious out to the fairgrounds, getting ready for the big old event. You wouldn't believe the things that are still going on. That's seems I didn't sign that one yet.
I'm going to find you the place.
So before you know it, it'll be here. We had the opportunity, I shouldn't say opportunity, but we went out and watched the fires out in Grouse this last week, and you want to talk about overwhelming. On our way out, we actually stopped by one of our employees' houses that you could see off in a distance, and I think every person in Grouch Creek was trying to save that house for one of our employees. It was very ominous to watch these DC-10 planes fly over and dump retardant on people's houses that we were watching, and the flames had to have been, I mean, we
40
were,
or 50 feet high in some places.
yeah, we were probably a mile away from it, and you could feel the heat coming off the flames. And I think it just makes you feel how small we are in the rest of things, that there is just, I mean, God's in charge and we're not him, that's for sure. So they were blessed to not lose any structures in the town. It was actually evacuated for a short time Sunday night. We couldn't go back out the way we came back in because the fire line was actually 22 miles long. It was from Grass Creek clear to Highway 30. So, our fire marshal, Corey Barton, said it was like trying to stop a freight train with a Tonka truck. And he's seen a lot of fires in his days, so we appreciate everybody that worked hard and did the things. And if you want to do donations, they've talked about it has to be packaged material, and there's some drop-off spots. But the best thing to do is just go to your local fire departments, because we had Corinne and Garland and Tremont and Fielding, Cash, Weber. So just if you want to donate some stuff, donate it to your local fire departments, and we appreciate the help. And they had evacuated Grass Creek about 8 o'clock that night, knowing that we were there when it crossed the fire line, and it looked like a bomb went off. And they were just they were actually evacuated into the county road sheds, and the wind just all of a sudden changed directions, and so I think all the prayers were answered, and it blew out the other way. So we just want to tell everybody thanks for that. You guys got anything else?
No.
Okay. We're going to talk about the road vacate. Do you want to give a little background, Scott, or do you want us to just talk about it? No? Yeah, come up and talk about it a little bit and say what's kind of come to light since our last meeting, since we tabled it.
So there was the road in question is a County D road just north of Deweyville, east of Highway 38 there, up on the hillside. And the landowners, I guess there are two landowners that are requesting that D road be vacated. This went before the Planning Commission earlier in the spring, and it came with a recommendation of approval. Since that recommendation and since the County Commission meeting July 10th, there's been some additional information that's come to light. A resident has submitted an email regarding public access to public lands. On the current county road map, what it shows is that the trail stop, or that the road stops approximately 300 feet shy of the Forest Service lands. There's a resident in that area that goes up this road, and then from that road there's a trail that leads up a canyon into Forest Service lands. And that I went up, looked, and it is clear there is a trail that is used. And so the residents' concern is that we would be cutting off public access to public lands. We did a little additional research, and the county road supervisor as well found the official county road map from 2003, which shows the road extending to the Forest Service boundary. So anyway, with these new things that have come to light, I guess they're the way we see it. I had a meeting with the county attorney on Monday, and our recommendation would be one of two things. One, you can either push it back to the Planning Commission to re-review it with the new information, and they can take a look at it and then make a new recommendation to you. The alternative is with these new things that have come to light, the criteria for vacation based on the county's road vacate policy. The first criteria there is there a prevailing public interest in keeping the road open? So generally, county roads that have been vacated historically is if they don't provide access to public lands, then it's been granted. If they do provide access to public lands, then they have not been granted. So really, those are, at least from a staff standpoint, kind of the way we see this at this point is you can push it back and have it re-reviewed, come with a new recommendation, or you can deny it based on
When's the next planning,
access to public land.
when's the next planning commission meeting?
Second week in September, or August, I mean,
There's one,
couple
the
weeks.
The 16th of August. There's
Oh, so it's just a couple
planning
weeks.
commission meeting.
Yeah, and so if they considered it, the problem is, if they considered it, then they might want additional information, and that would kick it into September. So it could be 6 or 8 weeks. The question I have, is that the sole access point to those Forest Service lands, or do you have access to that section of Forest Service ground through other points?
Public access, not really.
There's only 3 on this side of the valley. That's the problem with, there's only 3 good
I mean,
access
there's not
to
much
public
Forest
land.
Service land in this area.
Yeah, so I mean, that stretch of the range is Forest Service, and it goes down to Honeyville, which is where there's another access. It's actually DWR land and then Forest Service land above that. And then further down into the Harper Ward area, there's another County D road that accesses the Forest Service land there.
Okay.
So I mean, between Brigham and Collinston, there
It's a couple.
3 access points, the Harper Ward, the Honeyville, and this one. You know, there are, I think as we all know, there is a spider web of random 4x4 roads or ATV roads on the hillside crossing private property, but none of them have
Deeded access.
ever been acknowledged as a county roadway.
This is the one exception.
Correct. Well, this and the 2 others,
Well,
Honeyville and Harper.
I don't think it's time sensitive, so I would think that if we pushed it back and let them guys take a look at it, and I think with the new information that they'll be able to come out with what they need to do, so.
Yeah, I think
On
if
a-
we're going to thoroughly go through the process, we send it back to them so they have all the information this time
Okay.
and see what they come up with.
Well, and on a side note, we would still need, was the language completed to take care of the concern for Tremont and for their access to the water facility?
So they reviewed the easement that crosses Mr. Molesky's property,
I'll leave it.
and there is an easement there.
Okay.
The road crosses an Earl Cannon property prior to Molesky's property, and my understanding is they have not yet discovered an easement across Earl Cannon's property. So that is still
That would hold us up as well
in
because.
the works.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I would make a recommendation that we send this back to the Planning Commission for further review.
Okay.
I'll second that.
I got a motion by Commissioner Scott and a second by Commissioner Hatfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Alan, you're up, buddy.
Do you have copies of this, or would you like them?
Well, if I'd have brought my computer, I probably would have. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Commissioners and Mr. Hadfield, thanks for allowing me the time to, I've been representing my neighborhood, which is a South Willard area, which is the South Cherrywood Estates off of 8100 to about Nerva Lane.
And will you state your name? Sorry.
Alan Shinny.
I know who you are, but,
No problem.
okay, thanks.
And our request is for August 18th, we're having a neighborhood party, and we'd like permission to have the road closed that really only affect 2 houses, and it's a road off of 8100 that goes over to 8000, and it's just 2 corner houses, and it would not cut off any access points outside for 2 people, 2 residents. And those people are the Jacobsons and the Monsons, and we've already contacted them, made permission.
Okay.
And I would reach out to all the other people and give them other ways out, which for the other people, there's 2 ways out through a right-hand turn and then go all the way around, and the other people won't, on the south side won't be burdened at all. And this is a neighborhood party with about 140 residents that we will be having music and food from 5 o'clock till 8 o'clock on Saturday, August 18th. And we just, for safety reasons and for having kids, we didn't want to have road thoroughfare because it is the 2 houses, and there'll be like a music stage set up, and there'll be common access point from, and we would block it off with barricades. I would remove them personally, and then we would have 2 patrol cars that would be able to be on both sides. And for emergency purposes, we could let emergency personnel in and out as needed, but it would only be from 5 o'clock till 8 o'clock.
Cool. Then you'd have time to come up to our concert after that.
If
So
you requested,
then
you
you could-
would, but
then
our
you could do it.
band's pretty good. So,
That's awesome. I don't see any problems with this, do you?
No, I've spoken with
Besides, I won't be
Alan.
able to go. So.
Yeah, I've spoken with
come.
Alan in the past, and if it sounds like he knows what he's talking about, it's because he's had a little bit of experience in this.
Yeah, I was going to
so-
say in that avenue.
So, yeah, I would make a motion that we approve the road closure for the August 18th for the time frame specified.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Scott and a second by Commissioner Hatfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks,
you.
boss. Appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, Alan.
Brett Merkley. Is Brett here today? Oh, for some reason you just don't look like a Brett. I'm not going to say, okay. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. I was going to have it down to.
Thank you.
I'm really not Brett Merkley. I'm Carrie Rutherford, and
There
I'm
you go.
the co-chair with the Brigham Suicide Prevention, as well as a board member with the Utah chapter of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And I guess really what I'm here for tonight is kind of to appeal to the commissioners to understand Commissioner Summers, we really appreciate the support that you've shown to the suicide prevention community, because I've seen you at several events. But I think that suicide prevention is something that we as a community need to take a little more seriously. And it's something that I would appeal to you as commissioners, that you might be able to take time out to attend some of the events that we have here in our community, just to more or less show your support and kind of bring some more awareness to that need in our community. Last year alone, we lost 620 people to suicide in the state of Utah. Statistically, there were 25 other people that attempted last year alone within our own state. And just to put that in a little bit of perspective, if you multiply that out, that's 15,500 people who attempted suicide last year alone, just within our own state. And I think the population of Brigham City is just under 18,000. So there's a lot of people who are affected by suicide every day, and not just somewhere else, but here. And there's more information in this packet about trainings that our coalition offers. We're looking for opportunities to make people within our community more suicide alert. And I think that's probably the bulk of what I want to talk about. We do have a couple of events coming up, one being our fundraiser in September 15th. And that fundraiser actually helps us fund those trainings that we're putting on. It helps us fund our operating expenses, as well as to be able to purchase the materials and the resources that we hand out to the community. So.
And I guess you've seen that Representative Elison, and between all of our congressional district, has actually got the 3-number digit
Yes.
that's
Yes.
going to come on board
We did.
here nationally. So you'll see basically a 911 for suicide
Right.
pretty quick. So that's great work on everything. And then they're actually looking at doing a Safe Utah app nationwide also. So people from Utah are very well thought of in the nation's capital, and this is the reason why. So we get
Right.
things done, and so it's been great.
We're leading the country. I think not only, we are number 5 in the country as far as suicides go, but also I think our prevention efforts are
That's awesome.
getting up there. So.
Okay, thank you for coming and
Thank you.
bringing
We
this to our
appreciate
attention.
it. No, I had a
Yeah.
chance to attend the meeting that you guys had there at USU, and then up there last year for the walk. And anytime that you ask for a show of hands on who it's affected, literally every single hand goes up. Nobody's immune. So
Well, and especially
you.
with our youth around here,
That's our-
seems to be a real issue, and we appreciate
It is. It
your
is.
efforts.
Okay,
Thank
let
you.
us know if you need anything.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, looks like the 2 guys in the ties come up front and let us introduce you to the county. Hate to see one go and glad to see another one come, but
Yes. Well,
just state your names and,
I'm Tom Lee, and
I'm Dan Black.
Okay.
so we just wanted to come today and introduce Dan to you, and I wanted to take the opportunity to thank the county for their great support over the 8.5 years that I've been here, and all the good things that have happened to expand the educational opportunities for people in Box Elder County. So it's been great working with you, and appreciate all your support. Just make you aware of one exciting thing that is happening. We've built a biking, walking trail around the perimeter of the USU property,
it's cool.
and with the idea that we'll add now some signs around there telling about the old Bushnell Hospital and the
Oh,
Intermountain
really?
School.
that's awesome.
And then that little building that we kept from the Bushnell Intermountain days will get a new roof, new windows and door, and eventually some landscaping and so on, so that people can come, walk around. We're going to get some trees planted. And
I don't think people realize how an intricate part of the Second World War that hospital was.
Yeah, yeah, a great thing, great part of the history here, and great that USU's now on some of that property that was originally those other things.
Are we still going to see you from time to time, or you
I hope
just
so.
fish or cut bait, you're gone?
So I've moved to 60% time, so phased retirement for another year or two, and then I'll be done all the way, and my wife and I will go on a mission or something.
There you go.
Make ourselves useful.
Wow.
We're excited to have Dan here, and he comes from Snow College, where he's been a faculty member and
Go Badgers.
dean of their College of Science for many years. And so if you need any chemistry, gee whiz demonstrations, he's your guy.
And, yeah, thank you.
Just bring the mic so everybody can
I
hear you.
appreciate the time or chance to come and say hello and get to know everybody, and look forward to working with you in the future, and just glad to be here.
Well, we all know that we're great support for Aggies, except for one purple guy over on the side, but we won't mention names.
Yeah, he probably gets free ice cream just for wearing that shirt all the time.
You know, that's good. So,
Might be a lesson in that.
no, I mean, part of the growth when this happened is that we went through some horrible times back when this all happened, and it took a valley to come in and get this thing done. And I think it's an integral part of how we've gone from 14, 15% unemployment to now where we're basically at zero.
If you want to work, you can.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I think good education's coming our way.
So interestingly, as the employment rate is so strong, we have a little dip in the number of older students that come back because they're having the job opportunities they need. But we've actually had an increase in some of the younger students that are deciding to go here
Instead
now
of-
because we've got the nice facilities that we do.
That's awesome.
So we appreciate it.
No, we appreciate you guys. Just call us when you need us.
We appreciate all you've
Thank
done
you.
and look
Thanks for
forward to
coming up.
We'll see you
Working with you.
shortly.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for everything.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Appreciate all you've done.
Okay, it looks like we spoke too soon about only having once in a while, so you
Yeah.
want to talk about that just real quick?
If I can pull it up here.
She can tell you the name.
I read through here. It was Mr. Brown, if I remember right, Steve Brown,
Yeah.
age 86. Spouse is already deceased, no children. He'd been a resident of a rehab home. And looks like there are no cash or assets of any kind. Didn't have a home. There was literally nothing left. And nobody to bury Mr. Brown. And so it went to the Gillis Funeral Chapel, and they took care of it and gave a discount for the indigent burial, and are just asking for the remainder to be paid through the county, through the indigent fund.
Okay, I
So-
entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we pay the burial through the indigent fund.
I'll second that.
I got a motion by Commissioner Hadfield and a second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this is a class action lawsuit on the PILT underpayments. It's come to our attention that there was a class action lawsuit with Kane County for underpayments for, I think, 14, 15, and 16.
15 and 16, and then they tack in 17 as well.
And so we're going to be a part of that. We're going to have directions that hopefully our auditors will fill out the little paper and send that in for us. And then it's about 124,000, I think, minus fees. So whatever that ends up being. So I'd entertain a motion that we can be a part of that class actions lawsuit.
I'd make a motion that we send in the opt-in paperwork for the class action lawsuit regarding PELT underpayments.
Second?
I got a motion by Commissioner Scott and a second by Commissioner Hatfield. All in favor?
Aye.
And we're ready for the auditor's office, financial report and independent audit. I was having a hard time sleeping, so I can. Yeah, exactly. These guys like this stuff. I'm just like, are we in good shape or not good shape? Just come, just state your name and pass the mic around if you would.
All right, my name is Kayla Cornwell from Ulrich and Associates.
Mike Ulrich from Ulrich and Associates.
Nate, who?
Nate Adams, the auditor's office.
All right, so you've got the financial report in front of you. This is as of December 31st, 2017. We had the
I'm gonna
pleasure.
pull that forward. Like,
Closer, yep.
yeah, somebody's not downstairs gonna say you can't hear you, so.
We're from Ulrich and Associates. We had the pleasure once again of performing the financial audit of the county this year, and have issued our report as such. So we will start with our independent auditor's report. Begins on page 1, but I'll draw your attention to page 2. Up at the top, you'll see the opinion paragraph. And it states that in our opinion, these financial statements do present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the county. So that's what we call an unqualified or a clean opinion, the highest opinion that you can receive in an audit. So I'd like to point that out. And then we'll jump into the financial part. So I will start on page 12. These first few pages are the management's discussion and analysis, just kind of a big narrative, overall summary. So if, you know, at any point you want to kind of read through that just to get a good overview, that's a great place. But we will start today on page 12. And this is the balance sheet for the governmental funds. So you'll see multiple columns for all of your major governmental funds. We've got general, municipal service, RDA, tourism, capital projects, and then a total for all of the non-major funds there. So a couple things that I would like to point out. Typically, you like to see where your cash position was at the end of the year. So that's going to be your top line there. So total governmental funds at the end of the year, you had just over 16 million sitting in your cash accounts. Other item that we want to point out is the unrestricted fund balance, specifically in the general fund, because the state law does place a limit on this, so we always want to keep a track of that. So third line from the bottom in that first column, so at the end of the year, the general fund unassigned balance was just at $6.5 million. The state requires you to have at least 5% of your revenues, which would be $700,000, so you're well over the minimum. Then your maximum, you've got to be either 50% of your revenue or your property tax, so that puts you at around $10 million. So you've still got some room there. You could grow a little bit more. So that's where you're at as far as how much you can accrue in that general fund, unrestricted balance. Other thing we want to point out here, just the positive fund balance for all of the funds. So we have no deficit fund balances, nothing negative that we have to report there. You're running a positive fund balance for every fund that we show here. Have you turn over a couple pages to page 14. This is the statement of the revenues and expenditures for those same funds during the year. So the top half of the page, you've got the revenue that was brought in and then the expenditures. I'll draw your attention to the third line from the bottom, the net change in fund balance. For most all the funds, it was positive. You did run in both the RDA fund and the capital projects a negative change in fund balance for the year, just meaning that you used a little bit of the fund balance in both of those funds. But overall, total government funds, you had a net change of a positive $3.1 million for all of your governmental funds for the year.
Though I think those funds, I mean, you had budgeted to reduce the fund balance, so you were, I believe, and she'll probably get to this, that, you know, so it was, that's what you were planning on doing? I mean, you can't always increase every fund, so you know, some years you increase it, other years you carry it over and you're able to use that. So those two funds, actually, the plan was to use those funds. So that's, you know, some people hear, oh, it's a negative or reduced. It's like, well, yeah, but we planned on reducing that, so.
Yeah, especially in the capital projects fund, you know, not uncommon to see that as you spend years saving up, and then when the time comes to make any of your big purchases, you've got it in there. So we'll turn to page 16. This is a similar statement. It's showing the revenues and expenditures just for the general fund and comparing to the amounts that you budgeted. So in the top section for revenue, you can see you actually brought in about $900,000 more than you had anticipated. And then looking at the expenditures, you spent less by about $2 million than what you had anticipated. So the third line from the bottom, you can see in the budgeted column, like Mike said, you were anticipating to actually spend down your fund balance by a couple million, and in the end, you actually increased your fund balance by over $1 million. So stayed well within the budgets for all the departments. No findings or anything we had to report as far as budgets go.
Okay.
So.
Again, kind of tag teaming this. On the revenues, I think it's interesting to show on your sales tax, that second line at the top. I mean, you started out thinking you'd get about 1.7 million. Throughout the year, you thought, you know what, things are increasing, doing better. We're going to go up to 1.8. You actually brought in almost 2 million, just under that 1.96. So we're seeing that. You know, that's just an indication of economic, that things are still growing and things are going good. We see that other counties, other cities, and so I just, you know, it's a good thing. Things are growing, but sometimes that always provides other things that aren't so good, challenges to maintain and resources that are used. But, you know, overall, it looks like things are still growing in the county.
All right, on the next couple of pages, pages 17 and 18, very similar type of schedule, 17 for the municipal service fund and then for the RDA fund, and same basic rundown here. You know, you had anticipated to use a little bit of the fund balance, ended up coming in ahead and actually contributing to it this year. So, all right, we'll turn next to page 20. So now we're getting out of the governmental funds and looking at your enterprise fund, municipal building authority. So here we've got your balance sheet showing assets, liabilities, and then very second line from the bottom, the unrestricted fund balance, or kind of what you've got there to use in the future for that fund.
Is there any restrictions, like on the governmental side, on
There is
how this,
not.
so you can keep as much as you want, or it's usually 1 year worth of keeping in the fund and then from then on?
So in this one, because it's what we call an enterprise, it's like a business type, the charges for the services should fund the expenses to provide that service. So really the only restriction is that people you're charging are going to say, hey, yep, you know, like you say, you know, how many years do you have in there, or how much do you have accumulated? And it's just a function of, you know, they may say, hey, you need to charge us so much if you have 5 years of, I'm not saying you do, but that's the balance, and that one is it's just the charges for the services. So, I mean, you are at about, well, I guess we'll look at that in the next page, but
5 times.
yeah, you're just a little over probably, you know, 1 year of operations and things. But again, there's things that you got to plan for. You can't plan for. So, you know, is that a good indication? I don't, you know, we didn't evaluate that specifically, so I can't speak at that. But that's where that restriction comes in. There is no restriction. You could grow that as large as you wanted.
Okay.
Well, because we've got that option on that other stuff out there, so they may need to expand, and so.
Yep. We'll turn the page then to page 21. This shows the revenue and the expenses for that fund during the year. This we typically like to monitor just to see, you know, are you charging enough for your services to cover the expenses in that fund, since it is designed to run more like a business. And in this case, you can see the change in net position, 3 lines from the bottom, just over 300,000. So you did charge enough, you're covering your services, and this even includes depreciation on your equipment and other fixed assets, which is good because that way you are making sure that down the road, as you need to replace equipment or infrastructure, you know, you're charging enough to be able to do that down the road. So.
Okay.
All right, so we've kind of got through most of the financial statements. We get into the notes. We won't go through all this. This is your reading material for when you can't sleep at night. I will just point out a couple things. If you'll turn to page 29, halfway down the page, here we have a summary of the capital asset activity for the year. And just so you can kind of see those bigger purchases and things that were made. You did the new building for the storage in the sheriff department, as well as multiple vehicles, both in sheriff and road department. So you can kind of see a summary there of all the new additions that were added for capital assets. And then you'll turn to page, let's see where the long-term debt starts. Yep, 35 up at the top. This highlights the long-term debt, which you're in a fantastic position. You paid off the rest of your debt last year, so as of December 31st, 2017, the county didn't have any long-term debt to report, so exciting to see that.
Good.
All right. So, yeah, absolutely.
Especially being able to expend those expenditures without having to bond, so.
That's a great position to be in. You got some savings if you do have
Problems.
things, you can pull those without having to bond. I mean, I'm not saying you can't bond,
Right,
Yeah.
you have full capacity to bond if you will, because there's no debt.
right.
So those are the highlights, things we found important and wanted to point out to you. Overall, it was a good audit experience. The auditor's office was fantastic as usual, providing us with all the information that we needed. So,
Okay.
but we're happy to answer any questions or anything else that you'd like to go over.
Did you get the voicemail from the one commissioner that was supposed to call you to be interviewed for the audit that was out of town?
Yes.
Okay. If you still need to talk to him, he is available.
Or there's another Jeff.
We have a spare.
We have a spare.
No, we appreciate this. I mean, this is very thorough. I sit on a number of different boards and commissions, and this is by far the most thorough audit presentation. I mean, this is, and we like hearing those numbers
And
too.
they're usually
so
not that good. That's the thing that is good, because we do all sit on different boards and things, and
This is great.
sometimes you wonder about what's going on and how you're making it and if you're going to have to, and so.
And then, obviously, there were some changes with the general fund and the municipal services fund. As you went through and reviewed these, did you see that it looked like the allocation was good and that made the difference that it was intended to make?
Yes, I
Okay.
think that was a bit of a
Good.
adventure looking through. I'm like,
Good.
okay, we moved everything around here. But,
Well,
but
because,
yeah.
I mean, that was the hope and the intent, and we had already seen it on our end, but
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to see it confirmed by external, and we appreciate what the auditor's office have done. They've done a phenomenal job with that. And
Yeah, it was a lot of work
Yeah.
to make all
Okay.
those
They've done a
changes.
great job. We've got a great group there.
You know,
Cool.
we've got some things going on to where FEMA's told us basically that they won't pay for some of the things that have happened in the last little while. So I don't know if, from our understanding, the counties don't have rainy day funds. So that's something that, we're looking forward to see if maybe we can't get it statutorily changed to where some of this stuff that we can start putting into rainy day funds and things like that legally, so.
Yeah, I guess. If you will, she talked about that at the that was your carryover funding. I mean, where the limit
Within
is,
those
you can't
limits.
keep putting more
Right.
away. That's you're right. I mean, you don't have anything where you can say, hey, well, we've got extra, we want to keep growing this. You do have a little bit of leeway, but only to a certain extent, and then they cap it. So that's that 10 million that we talked about.
We found out that San Juan actually has a rainy day fund that was put in statute back in the 40s.
Oh, wow.
So they got about 10 or 12 million dollars in that fund. So we're just kind of thinking if the state can do it,
Yeah.
so can we. So,
Well, that's
We'll figure out how that goes.
that's the legislature and you guys. That's
yep. And then you just tell us how good we're doing.
that's right.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
for your
much.
time.
Thanks, Nate.
You're still up, Nate. I was going to say,
So the next item we had is, there was just a resolution for the 2018 centrally assessed properties. Anyway, I didn't know if I just needed to get
No.
this signed and.
yeah.
And these were the three just specific to Pacific Corp, CenturyLink, and AT&T.
Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
So we just need to make a motion to be able to be a part of that essentially assessed.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution 18-03, authorizing us to do the appeal for the centrally assessed.
I'll second that.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hatfield and a second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Have you got another copy, or is this the only one?
I can give you a copy.
I think she already has one. I just got to sign them both.
I'm ready for it. Well, as ready as I can be.
Hey, way to jump the gun. That a girl.
Yeah.
You're up.
Okay, I'm here to present another Policy 15 change. That's what I get for saying this is the last one. This one is in 15-12. It's come to our attention in HR that we have a couple of employees who would like to move to Idaho. Don't know why they would leave our great county, but anyway. So in number 1, it currently reads, a current Utah driver's license with correct class is required to operate a county vehicle.
Just going to be and/or.
This would just be a current driver's
Oh,
license.
there you go.
No Utah.
Take out the UT.
specific. Yep.
Okay. I don't have any.
Makes
problem with
sense to me. I make a motion that we approve the Policy 15 change regarding driver's licenses.
Second.
that. Got a motion by Commissioner Scott and a second by Commissioner Hatfield. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Wake
Jennifer.
up, Scott. You're up. He's back there looking like he was working. Bored you to sleep? Yeah.
Okay, so this is ordinance number 480. The request is a zoning map amendment. The area being requested to be rezoned is 12,000 north and 10,090 west. This sits in the Bothwell area. The parcel is approximately 2.79 acres, and the request is to be rezoned from the RR5 rural residential 5-acre zone to the RR2 rural residential 2-acre zone.
It's been through the planning commission and
It's been through the planning commission. A public hearing was held at the planning commission level with a recommendation of approval. We had a pretty good turnout at that meeting, I would say.
Very good.
Not sure how many residents spoke to it, but there were some concerns raised. All of those concerns were addressed, and nobody spoke. No one was opposed to it, I would say.
Every single resident that spoke in favor of it. And if you've seen the pictures before and after, it's an amazing what they've done with this property. The one concern that the residents had was that this didn't become commonplace. And so this is kind of isolated, and they would like to keep, the RR5, but in this isolated circumstance. And it can't be changed again because you can't subdivide this because it's 2.79. And so, every single person that was there spoke in favor of the change.
this
So,
came up about 10 years ago before as commissioner, and there was a few things that happened that didn't let it happen. So I'm glad to see that common sense has come to Bothwell and that they will be able to do some of these things and make some of these homes that don't have any acreage around them, and people are dying and moving, and there's just no other way to do it legally. So
This isn't the only one, so I think it's a good
Right.
step.
yep, I think it's a good first step. So
yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance 480, the Hancock rezone.
I'll second that.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Hatfield and a second by Commissioner. I'm going to do it really slow because they're waiting for us to say yes. Scott, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Keep Kyle and Emily waiting.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see what you do with the place. Appreciate it. Jess?
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
I just have an application for a county beer license. WRE has sold their property back to the former owners. They are calling it Fast Stop, and they've just requested an approval on their beer license.
Okay. Make a motion? Entertain a motion?
And everything, they've complied with everything. And
Yeah.
Yes, the
Okay.
sheriff's office has signed off on it.
all right, I would make a motion that we approve the beer license for the Plymouth Fast Stop.
Second.
I got a motion by Commissioner Scott and a second by Commissioner Hatfield. All in favor?
Aye.
You ready to sign some paper?
Oh.
Sherman
Oh,
T. Potter.
I get to sign it? Sherman T. Potter. And I almost did Sherman.
William, or it's Colonel
Sherman T.
T. Potter.
just
That's
sign
what it
that
is,
one?
yeah.
I think that's just you that signs that one.
I don't like taking home 2 inches of stuff. I'm gonna forget my glasses if I don't. What is this, 3 weeks worth of stuff, or? You don't have time to be sick.
Hey, you didn't sign any of the driving certificates, so.
Not this year.
Yeah.
Hey, at least I have a good driver's license now, right, Jennifer?
A story?
Oh, yeah.
There always is.
Always, always is. Let's put it this way, it's just a good thing you didn't get pulled over like other commissioners.
Let's not go there.
I have a feeling Lee Perry wouldn't save me. Well, with all that practice you had, you sure had to step it up a notch.
Actually reading them.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I'll do it slower then. Is that a twofer? Oh, it just looked like a twofer.
The twofer?
Is the pile getting any smaller?
Yes. We are making headway, believe it or not.
By the time Scott's done, I'll be able to go home. I'll be home.
We'll just close the meeting without you.
You got the green one?
You're rushing me.
You were the one that was in a hurry.
You guys have no idea how long it's gonna take me to sign this last one.
Hey, there's only one person that needs to get out of here.
Brian?
He's gonna be the sloth.
Oh, sorry, Brian.
If it was us, he would have,
That's right.
Yeah.
You're good for now.
he said by 6, right?
Somewhere in there, yeah. I can get to Tremont in 20 minutes, so.
Police escort.
They won't be working on the freeway.
Never get
Yeah.
sideways to the county
Hey.
attorney's office.
Oh, my goodness. We don't have a closed session, right?
Yes, we do.
We do?
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, we do.
It won't take.
Just one item.
Oh, okay.
Rebecca would kill you if you were popping that pen.
Okay.
Well, there it shows enough damage. That's what she just,
Pass me
Yes, you
a
do.
Reese's. I deserve one after all those.
yes, you do. See, Brian wants one.
Like,
Those
Oh,
nuggets
that's
are
right.
good.
Yeah.
I'd take 20, but I'll take this one. There we go. Thank you.
Done.
Pen drop.
I'd entertain a motion to go into closed session to talk about personnel.
Second.
I'd make a
Motion.
motion that we go into a closed session to discuss personnel.
I'll second that.
Oh, wait a minute, we've got, Nope, I'm not going to. Come on up. I forgot about the disaster declaration.
Oh,
That would have been a disaster.
Thanks, Big Dale.
I put my motion.
Somebody
on
ought
hold.
to. Okay. Sorry, I forgot.
Mark Millett, Box Elder County Emergency Manager.
There you go.
Okay, we'd like to propose that verbiage there as a resolution for a drought disaster declaration. That's kind of a boilerplate from pretty much submitted by any of the other counties that have done there, but it covers the full scope and breadth of the potentials that we may be dealing with as a result of drought.
So this will open up Box Elder County for,
Yes, but it's a little bit different than FEMA.
Right,
It doesn't
yeah.
just automatically do something. I was talking
Right.
to I didn't bring my notepad up, the guy from our farm service agent here in the county. I was talking to him today, and with the USDA,
oh, okay.
they've got automatic triggers built in for certain things to happen at certain points. And
Okay.
so whether we filled that out and submitted it as a declaration, those things would open when certain things happen. We are peripheral to Weber County, who has met a D2 condition, and we are just on the edge of, if we aren't already, at a D2, which opens up certain things. And if you're at that stage for 8 weeks, then it opens up an additional funds and accounts, and they're just things that automatically happen. So the formality that we're here, it's just that we're officially, like the other counties in the state, just saying, okay, we're going to officially declare that we've got
Okay.
a problem, and it doesn't necessarily automatically guarantee, and
Resolution.
it's going to be a lot less painful
Right.
than dealing with the other 4-letter federal agency that we've had to deal with, just because they're really streamlined, so.
So I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve and sign resolution number 1805 for the drought emergency.
I'll second that.
I got a motion by Commissioner Hatfield and a second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll submit that to the state then, and it'll work through the State Department of Agriculture. We'll probably
And I'll
be
make
the lead
sure-
agency on that.
Appreciate all your work, Mark. You do a lot of good stuff for us.
I'll make sure
Appreciate
President
it.
Rose knows that we got that put together for him.
Okay, very good.
And then you'll get a copy to
Yes,
Jesse for the clerks.
yeah.
Okay.
In fact, we need to make sure you get that all
Okay.
scanned and copied and
Okay.
documented.
That'll keep us out of trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a motion for a closed session by Commissioner Hatfield and a second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks a
Thank
lot,
you.
Mark.
Thanks you guys for coming.
Yep.
Unless you're part of the closed session, you can go home.
Stick around for the adjournment, right?
What's that?
They can stick around for the adjournment.
No, you got to stay here.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, do we do it right in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, she just turns the lights off.
Turning the mics off.